Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of ArtTour International, the TV presentation for ArtTour International Magazine. We continue bringing you inspiring leaders that make our global communities a better place. And today's guest is going to bring you lots of inspiration. She is very aligned with our vision of bringing peace awareness through the arts because she's a diversity, equity, and inclusion expert. Miss Sharifah Hardie. How are you doing, Sharifah?
I am fine, and you, Viviana?
Great, great. So for those who don't know you, Sharifah Hardie is a business consultant, a talk show host, and influencer. She was a Long Beach City Council candidate in the 2020 March 3rd primary elections. Awesome. With over 25 years of business experience, she has positioned herself to become one of the top executives in entertainment, business, politics, and a person on the rise. And there's so much more to say about you. I really feel honored to have you in our show.
Thank you. I feel honored to be here. It's always an honor to have the opportunity to speak about some of the things that I'm so passionate about.
Yes, and one of the things that I think the first thing that I'm going to ask you, and that's because we have so many entrepreneurs out there, especially creative entrepreneurs. Can you talk to us about your book?
Yes, my book, which I have Signs You Might Be an Entrepreneur, How to Discover the Entrepreneur in You. I developed this book because so many people have been telling me what they believed the entrepreneur was. And I felt they had a misguided interpretation of what it is. They would tell me, oh, I know I'm an entrepreneur because I don't like to work. Oh, I know I'm an entrepreneur because I hate my boss. And I'm like, no, that's not what an entrepreneur is. So it explains a lot of the aspects of being an entrepreneur, how to build your business, how to start your business, some of the things that you can utilize when you're just starting out. Because I always tell people, I not only help people to make money, I help people to save money. Because when you're just starting out, you don't know what things cost. You don't know what SEO is. You don't know too much about social media marketing. And sometimes people try to take advantage of people who simply don't know. So I like to provide the information to people so that they can make informed decisions.
That sounds beautiful. So in your program, there is social media marketing as a major engine, right, for an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. The social media for me is the backbone of my business. Without social media, I would never have become as successful as I have been. I do very little advertising. The majority of what a business that comes to me comes through social media marketing and referrals. That's my top ways I receive new clients, new guests on the show. Most people who contact me, they tell me, Sharifah, I don't even know exactly what you do, but Viviana said, ask Sharifah. And that's usually the way a conversation starts. And by the end of the conversation, I've helped with marketing, SEO, social media marketing, but it's about getting out there and speaking with people, making new friends, networking. And you can do so much more networking online in a virtual atmosphere as opposed to like we used to do back in the old days, pre-COVID, running around from networking event to networking event.
Right. And I think that we have discovered through this experience this year that there's so much that we can do even from home. Like right now,
Yes.
I'm interviewing you from home because that's what we're working right now.
Well, I
And
love your home. I don't know what room that is, but I'm loving this wall and this window. I'm like, this would be my meditation room.
it is, so part of it is actually a meditation room. And I love that you bring that to the conversation because I emphasize that with the artists that I work with too. It's such an important part of an entrepreneur, right? Getting in touch with yourself through meditation.
Absolutely. We were discussing that on today's episode of the Roundtable Talk Show, how important meditation is. I speak with a lot of successful people, whether they're CEOs, influencers, authors, entrepreneurs, it doesn't matter. The most successful people spend time in meditation. And one of the things that I found is I used to think it was like my mind being busy and all over the place. But what I've learned is I'm thinking so many things through that by the time I finish my meditation, it's time for me to act. And I get up and I do everything that I've already planned through in that meditation.
Do you ever get inspiration, like new ideas through the process, through the meditation?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I'm a tarot reader as well. So I spend a lot of time as a spiritual advisor, minister. I always talk to people that prayer is speaking to God, whereas meditation is listening to God. And that's sometimes where we go wrong, is we always ask for stuff. I can say, Viviana, give me this, give me that, give me that. But do I wait and I listen to your response? It's the same thing with meditation. You have to wait and listen. If you listen and you're open, the thing that will happen is you will see the next steps open up. And so that's what we have to sit and wait to figure out what we need to do.
Yes. And I see you're so active. I just discovered you and I was so impressed, really. And one of the things that impresses me the most is how generous you are with your
Oh,
time and really giving so much to entrepreneurs. It's like that passion, and you don't see that. I say that generous spirit when the entrepreneurs are starting.
mhm.
So, what would you say to anybody out there about that generosity? Because I'm pretty sure it brings you so many blessings, and you're just flowing in abundance because of that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I never had anyone say they discovered me. I didn't even know I could be discovered. So I think that's wonderful. I'm glad that you just, being a part of the tribe and the network. I think that that is wonderful. What I would say is this: I do what I do mainly because I feel like, how can I not? I didn't get here by myself. There were so many people who helped me along the way. So how can I not help you? How can I not help the next person? How can I say, you know what? I have information, I have knowledge. And if I gave that knowledge to Viviana, her business would be more successful. She can pass that information along to her network and her network would be more successful. I feel that it would be wrong. It would be selfish of me not to provide that information. That's reason number one. The number two is I just love giving. I'm a giver. I love to be able to help people. I believe that everything belongs to God. It's not mine for me to hold on to. It's to be shared among people. And then third, the last reason I feel like I'm always a giver is because I have seen many times how giving to someone one day, it returns to me, 5 years, 10 years, 5 months later. And it's not always in the way that we expect. I've had instances where I've done something nice for someone, didn't think about it, didn't even give it a second thought. But then months later, or even years later, I've been in a situation and maybe that person was the one person that can assist me. And they're like, oh, Sharifah, yeah, I remember you. I remember you were nice to me. So let me do whatever I can to help you. You never know when you're going to run into those same people. People think that this world is so huge, and it's not. The world is I mean, I don't want to say it's small, but you meet the same people in the same circles. And as people, especially as they level up, it's like you're all running in the same circle. So I just want people to have a nice memory of our interaction. I would love for you to walk away from this interview and go, you know what? Sharifah was really nice. Those are the things that matter, because maybe down the road you have a different article or you're looking for someone, or I need help and I need to contact you. I don't want you to say, you know what, Sharifah, I offered you a platform, you were rude or whatever. So I just love to allow people to have the best experience possible with me.
And that reminds me a quote by Maya Angelou, because she says, people will forget what you said, who you are, what you do, but they're not gonna forget how you make them feel.
Absolutely. And I love to make people feel comfortable. I love to give people a safe platform. And that's why I love being a business consultant, because so often what happens more than anything else is that people really know what to do. They've researched online, they've watched all the YouTube videos, they've listened to every podcast under the sun, but they're not sure. And they want to ask someone some of those silly questions that we don't, is this dumb? Like, but they feel safe. They feel comfortable being able to ask whatever questions they have and to be able to have guidance. So I don't just answer questions. I say, okay, this is the answer to that question, but have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Look what else we can do to make your business more successful.
And that's such an incredible mission that you have. I just love it, because
Oh.
I pretty much do the same for artists. It's
Mhm.
it's kind of what we do, and that intimidation, like when we have a question, a business question, because we don't feel, I myself, I've been in business for 20 something years. I'm still learning. Like, I'm
Yes.
pretty sure that there's so much that I can still learn. But we're always shy about that. And I think that's great that you're so open to receiving that, and that whoever comes to you is going to feel comfortable about it, because it's really not good when you don't feel smart, and that
Yes.
happens.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
and that happens. I've actually been approached by people who offer maybe incredible services, but
Mhm.
the fact that they come to you with a negative statement or something negative, like, I saw this, I think you need help and it doesn't look good or something, it's
Mhm.
like, I don't know, I don't feel comfortable already just by that approach. And
Mhm.
that's needed, that support, that safe space that you're
Yes.
offering.
But I also think it's important because we don't always get that from our circle. We don't always get that from the people around us. I built my first website in 1994, and people around me told me I was lazy. Like, I am lazy. And now people laugh because they like, you build a website. I was 20 years ahead of my time. But the mindset of the people in 1994 was there is no working from home. You don't work virtual. Virtual is something that a lot of people in 2020 are just opening up their minds to. The philosophy was, if you do not physically leave the house and go to a job, you don't want to work, you're lazy. It doesn't matter about how much money in your bank account. The idea is that you have to go to work. And what happened back then is you couldn't have the Xerox copies or the copy machines or the fax machines. I'm talking to you right now from my laptop. 1994, you would have had to have a big, huge desktop in order to do anything. And so technology has made us, or gave us, the ability to work remotely and to get so much more done from home. So sometimes it's just about using your gifts at that time and not listening to the people around you. If I had listened, and been more confident and hadn't listened to them, I would have been more successful sooner. So that's one of the things that I do for entrepreneurs. Like, if you came to me and you said, Sharifah, I really would love to create this ice cream business. I've never ran one before, but I just love ice cream. Do you think I'm crazy? And I always tell people, no. If God put that dream, that vision in your heart, then we can make it possible. And so I always tell people, I'm not only their business consultant, I'm one of their biggest cheerleaders. I don't just say yes. I say, yes, this is how we can bring your dream to life.
Wow, you have an incredible energy.
Thank you.
Love it. What would you say to those entrepreneurs out there that are going through that situation? Because we're not the only people who are going through that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people go through it. And I hear even creative entrepreneurs who go even to difficulties, depression, because they're trying to do something and they're getting bombarded by their closest circle to like push them down. And it's very challenging.
Artists have big hearts. Artists are givers. Artists are the ones who feel the pain of the world, and they release it in a lot of different ways. They may release it in art, in music, in poetry, but we're empaths. We feel just about everything, right? So one of the reasons why artists are usually, two things happen to artists. Usually they're starving. That's how you have the term starving artist. And then you look at any artist in history, they usually do not reach the level of success, the level of notoriety, until after they're no longer on this earth. People recognize what they've done and their hard work and their gifts as soon, after they passed away. And one of the main reasons that is because artists tend to do what they do for the love of it. They're happy, they're passionate. I love to sing, and so that's what I'm going to do. And so often we forget, just like show business. And I live in Long Beach, California, in Los Angeles County, so I'm very familiar with Hollywood. The company I took public in an IPO and raised $6 million in 2018 was a television studio. So I'm very familiar with Hollywood. And so what people don't understand is that art, Hollywood. It's a business. So I always recommend, no matter what your passion is, take some business classes, take some accounting classes, make sure that you understand business, because if you're just doing it for the passion or and the love of it, then you're going to struggle a lot more. You have to find a balance between I just love to paint and this is how I'm going to monetize my art.
Exactly, exactly. And I have a webinar that is debunking the myth of the starving artist because of that.
Yes, you don't have to be starving, you know, it's a choice.
Because if we keep, doing, I always tell the artists, if someone is going to the supermarket, they're not gonna say, I'll just give you this gallon of milk because I love it. I love giving it. The
Mhm.
same way, we can expect the artists to give us their artworks, their music for free. That's such a challenge in the world right now. It's especially because art is not seen as a need, which
Mhm.
I consider as an artist and curator that is a need. So
Mhm.
without art, the world would be dark and gray, right? You have
Mhm.
all these beautiful books behind you with color. There were artists designing those covers. So
Mhm.
that is so important that you touch that subject. It's the starving artist needs to be debunked. I hope that we can make that happen in this time and
But
space.
we
Yeah.
can. We can. We just have to decide and choose to. And it's so interesting, so interesting to me that you use an example. I use the same exact example, but I just use it in a different way, you know, because you mentioned people not paying for art. But one of the things that we do is we feel bad. We feel guilty. You know, people don't understand that it's not money that's the root of all evil. It's the love of money. And so when we work on our beliefs around money and finances and our fear of money, or maybe even our fear of success, or maybe there's some imposter syndrome that's going there where we feel that we're not worthy. And so what happens is we have fear and we look around and go, we're in a global pandemic. COVID-19 is happening. Nobody has any money. So you know what? I'm not going to charge them. Or maybe my price for my art is $1,500 or $15,000, but because it's COVID, I'm going to take $500 because that's what they're willing to give me. I started off, one of my first teaching experiences where I was a trainer for cheap tickets was I learned the expression TAL, which means they all lie. So customers will tell you all the time, I don't have any money. It's COVID-19, so I can't afford to pay you. But they'll take that same money during COVID-19 and go buy the latest iPhone. They'll go buy whatever it is that they want. But you haven't, like you said, Viviana, you haven't made what you have as a need. And the way you do that is you appeal to them and let them know this art will brighten your day. You won't feel so sad when you're sitting in your meditation room. This will give you a better perspective. But if you approach it like any other product, then you're not going to be successful. Like I said, I use the example of milk, that same item. You can go into any grocery store, grab a gallon of milk and walk to the counter. You can't tell the lady at the counter, this milk is $5, but you know what? I just lost my job. COVID-19 is going on. I think I'm just going to give you $1.
Mm.
The grocery store clerk would laugh you out of the store. So you have to have that same mentality that this is my price. It doesn't mean that you cannot discount it. It doesn't mean you cannot have offers like every grocery store. Maybe they have Monday newspaper that gives you all of their specials. But don't feel that you have to reduce your price just because you look around and go, oh, people are unemployed, so that means I need to. No, maybe it's time to increase your prices because people willing to pay more for something that you value, which will make them value it as well.
Wow, thank you so much. Your words are so direct and straight to the heart of many artists right now, I'm pretty sure.
Yes,
Thank
because
you.
people always ask me, they go about pricing. That's one of my favorite topics is speaking to people about pricing because people will come on the show, and this is one of the things I love to talk about. And they go, well, you know what? What do you do when your price is too expensive? And I go, well, first of all, expensive is relative. right? It depends on the person you're speaking with, because I can look at that dress and say, you know what, Viviana, your dress is so beautiful and it looks expensive. Well, expensive to you might be a $2,000 dress. To me, it might be a $200 dress, but I can't spend out of your pocket. I just have to say, this dress that I'm offering costs this much, and allow you to take it or leave it. I have another show, Ask Sharifah Videocast and Podcast, which is a one-on-one interview, and the recordings appear on my website at AskSharifah.com. I also host 2 talk shows, the Roundtable Talk Show and Face-to-Face Talk Show. I don't charge a fee to be a guest on the Roundtable Talk Show or Face-to-Face Talk Show, whereas Ask Sharifah Videocast, there's a $350 production cost. Some people will say that price is too high. Some people I've spoken to will say that price is too low. Everything is relative to the person who is paying it.
Exactly, exactly. And I think we have to be respectful of people's times and work. Oh my goodness. Post-production, you know, they do a lot of work. They deserve
Yes,
to be paid. And
yes, but
I
I
think
also,
that's another subject. That's another point, is us being generous and
yes,
accepting that, because activates that energy of receiving as well, you know, when we acknowledge somebody else's work. And that's
I,
another entrepreneur thing.
I agree. I definitely agree. I remember being interviewed, actually interviewing a friend of mine, and we were discussing, we were talking about, people had told me, oh, Sharifah, you're going to be successful. You're going to have millions. You're going to have all this money. And I was like, sometimes I just feel like, what if I don't want all this money? What if I just want to just, you know, go work for somebody? And she was like, Sharifah, just think about all the good you can do with that money. She said, you can build organic farms. You can hire people. And by the time she finished naming all the wonderful, good things I could do with this money, I felt so bad. Yeah, I felt like, oh my God, like I didn't even think about the people I could help. So when I think about Ask Sharifah Videocast and our production fee, I look at it like, okay, but wouldn't you want us to pay for advertising to promote your show and market your show so that everyone on social media can see that you have an upcoming interview? And when you're actually when you appear on our live show, there will be people there to watch it. Everything has a cost. And so I love to be generous and to give. People are always trying to discount things from me. And I'll say, you know, I'll pay for it. I love to just pay for. Everybody's like, you spend way too much money. I have my laundry delivered. My dad, everybody, it laughs because they're like, you pay someone to come pick up your laundry and you could have just washed the laundry yourself. I'm like, no, I don't pay them to pick up my laundry. I pay so that their business can continue to operate, right? So I'm supporting their business and not just the fact that I don't want to do my laundry. And I think if more people understood that and had that same mindset, we will be more successful.
We will be. We will be. I think generosity is such a tremendous asset to any business owner, because
Yes.
that's how you surround yourself with incredibly good people as well, you know?
Yes, I agree.
Wow, Sharifa, thank you so much. I could ask you so many things.
It's up to
So
you. You know
like,
what I mean?
this goes for a whole, I don't know, series of episodes.
I love to talk. Can you tell? But I mean, like when I start talking to people, I've had experiences where I'll go to lunch with people who haven't met me before, seen pictures, and they show up and they're like, you're Sharifah? And it's like they have this different image of who I'm supposed to be. But by the time we finish, they're taking notes on napkins. Like, wait a minute, what did you say? How do you? Because I love to help people. And to me, business is basic. It comes down to the basics of business. And the reason that's so important is it doesn't matter what the product or service is. If you do certain things in a certain way, I guarantee you will be successful. Not overnight, not immediately, but over a continuous period of time, you will be successful. And those are the things that I try to help entrepreneurs with. I'll give you 3 quick steps on the first things that I recommend. Number one, create your website. Make sure that at the top of your website, above the fold, you are clear on who you are, what you do, what's happening on the website, and a call to action. I think most people forget the call to action. There's just all this information, it's pictures, maybe products, but I always ask, what do you want your customer to do with that information? And whatever it is, you have to tell them to do that, to buy it, to order it, to pick it, whatever it is, because people are not just going to know organically or through osmosis what you want from them. And so the clearer you are with your message, the higher your sales results, the higher your profit will be. The second thing I always tell people is social media. Be on social media platforms. I'm not one of those people who says you have to be on every social media platform, but the social media platforms that you are on, please make sure that you post to them. People don't understand that if you're on a social media platform and someone is trying to figure out if they want to do business with you, and it's August of 2020 and your last post is May of 2017, people will go, okay, you know what? I don't even know if they're still in business. So you have lost a customer that you didn't even know was a potential customer because they're trying to realize or understand what kind of business you're in, who you are. Are you still in business? So those are questions that you can easily answer by just updating your social media. The last thing that I'll say, I think most important is, people always ask me, they say, Sharifah, what can I post on social media that's interesting? I don't have anything interesting to say. And so I love to regurgitate and repeat people's questions to me. And I say, okay, well, what I'm hearing you say is that you don't find your business interesting. So is that what you're telling me? Because if you don't find your business interesting, how do you expect potential clients to find your business interesting? And when they look at it like that, they go, okay, that makes a little bit of sense, you know, because if you're passionate about your business, specifically, what are you passionate about? If you're passionate about art, let us see some of the art. Let us see some of the artists. You know what I mean? But you have to show us what is so interesting about your world. And what happens is we kind of hide. We don't want to show people that because we are afraid they'll laugh at us. Well, they're afraid they'll go, oh, well, you're an entrepreneur. All you talk about is business. But you know what? I believe that small business and entrepreneurs are the heart of our economy, the heart of America. And we all know what happens when our heart stops.
Yes, absolutely.
So we have to, it's our obligation. We have to keep going and promoting and talking and sharing the things that can help us all to survive. So that's why I'm just so passionate about helping entrepreneurs and small business owners and artists.
Wonderful, Sharifah. Thank you so much for your time. Can you give us your website for those who want to learn more about you?
Free to ask Sharifah at asksharifah.com.
Wonderful, Sharifah. Thank you so much. And it was a blessing having you. Really.
You are so welcome.
I'm inspired. And thanks everybody for watching. And don't forget to stay inspired.